Hey guys, Ricky here from Connerty Meadows Farm. One thing I get asked about quite a bit on our homestead is what kind of hutches we use for our rabbits. So, oh goodness, this is my new garden kitty, Marv. He can't be without some loving here. Anyway, back to rabbits. So we raise meat rabbits here on our farm. Obviously the buck and the does that we keep are more pets than their offspring. So these are our rabbit hutches. And I wish I could tell you that I had a video of the building of these, but I don't, unfortunately. This one here we made at our old farm. We transported it here to our new one. And then this one we made with scraps from building material, including that tin that has showed up in many videos, like all of our chicken coops and our deer stands. So I bought this tin off Marketplace and we've used it for a lot of things. Anyway, I digress. I'm going to take you on a tour of these rabbit hutches and how we built them, and hopefully it'll give you a little bit of an idea. So the first thing I do want to point out, as we are in Ontario, Canada, it does get cold here. We do get snow. We are getting into the cooler weather now. So where you see here all of this mesh, I actually have plastic. I went to a mattress store, and you know that really thick mattress, really thick plastic that brand new mattresses come in? They just get rid of that. Usually they recycle it, but I asked for a couple of them and I have cut them to size, and then I just staple them on the side. So they get stapled on that side, and they get stapled on this side. And as you can see, the little door there also has plastic on it. So the thing with that plastic is it kind of keeps it warmer in there. And then in about a month, so I'm actually planning on putting the plastic on the sides here in just this week. Then in about a month, when the really cold weather starts to set in, I will put plastic all on the front here. I try to avoid putting plastic on the front for a little bit while longer, just because we have these access doors here. And I'm just going to show you what the inside looks like here. So there's our access doors. The way we have built the bottom of these is so that this can be changed out, because usually within a number of years, there is they start to like rust out. So we end up having to rip this out and changing it out every 4 or 5 years. It depends really how many rabbits you have in here at different times. So when the plastic is on the sides, and you can see there's a little bit of plastic on that door there already, then this is really nice and warm in here. So I'm gonna pan up so that you can have a look at the top here. So there's wire that goes all the way up to the top, because our buck is in this side. Then we have a doe in this side, and then there's does over in that too, in those two. And then we have a little ramp here that goes up to the top. Now currently I have that top blocked off because the last litter of kits that were in here ate the linoleum flooring. So until I can fix the linoleum flooring, that's blocked off. So I'll take you to the other side and I'll show you on the other side what that looks like. This is our buck. Yeah, cuddles. Okay, so I'm just gonna crawl in here a little bit. So you can see they have an upper level deck up there, and then that in the back is on hinges, so we have access to clean up there. And they have the ramp here. And then you can see Cuddles is in a little area back there. And I'm going to show you, there's actually a double area, and I'll explain my reasoning why when I show you. So there's a little bit of area here that has plywood. We have to keep that fairly scraped because it does rot out if you don't. It looks like it's due to be scraped again. But that's what the inside of that looks like. Now you might ask me why we're up on stilts and I haven't given the rabbits access to the bottom. So I have had hutches in the past where the rabbits have access to the bottom, but what happens is they dig out. And then if you don't have them dig out, you have wire in there, and a wire will eventually rot away. So the reason why they're elevated is so that when they poop, the poop comes directly down underneath here. Then I can scrape up this poop and put it directly on my garden, and it keeps things relatively clean down under here. Oh goodness. Oh, hey Gooch. Okay, so along the side here, we have, this is the first door. It does have a little bit of plastic on it. It needs to be fixed. So this is the buck. So he sprays, that's why the plastic's really gross. So again, that's the entry. This is the entry point that we use in the winter once that front point is plasticed up. And then they can put their food and water in here. And we'll close that one. And as you can see, I do have two little doors here. So the first little door we have here is where Cuddles is at the moment. I want you to see something that we've done here. So the entry door is there, and then the back area has the door on this side. And the reason we've done that is because a mom with kits usually kindles in there. And for those of you that don't know, kits are babies. Kindle means to give birth. So we fill that full of straw or hay and nice stuff that she can make a bed in. And that means on a windy day, even though this will be all plasticed off, in the summertime it's not, and the bottom actually isn't. So then having the ability for the wind sometimes to whip up, it could potentially like come in, and if the kits were in here, they could get cold. So the wind isn't gonna travel like this, which makes this back compartment nice and cozy. I'll show you that. Sometimes we have to add a little extra nutty there. And you can see we have linoleum flooring, or I guess it's not called linoleum anymore, vinyl flooring. Showing my age here. So here's the back one. Now normally there's a lot more hay in here. It's getting into the colder months. This will be packed full of hay, but if a rabbit was kindling in there, then she would have lots of hay and a nice cozy warm place. So I'm just going to show you what the top looks like here. So remember how we had that ramp up to the top? Well, that is why now is this area is all enclosed and stays nice and warm. So now let me show you what the back looks like. So back here, this is what the back of this looks like. So you can see, so we have hinges on these triangles here, and then the latch, and then the back is like one full unit. So let me show you what this looks like. Sorry, standing on the wrong side. So that's what that looks like. Now this had linoleum, but they've eaten it off as well. But the buck doesn't tend to make too much of a mess here, so that's okay. He doesn't come up there and do his business up there, so we can just, I don't worry about it too much. So we close that up. So one other thing I want to point out. So one thing we discovered was that here in this corner on the angle part, so that would be like right here, their poop was collecting. So what we actually ended up doing when we built the second one is we did something a little different. So when we built this one, instead of putting a piece of wood here, which you need to do to prevent, I'll show you. We need to do that to prevent wildlife from getting up underneath. I'm gonna show you over here. So see, you have to put something there or that's open. So what we did was, instead of using wood on that one, this new one, when we made it, we put the wire. And that means if they're up on the top part here and they poo in the corner, the poo, which you can see here, is just gonna fall down through, which is better. So all of these ones were built similar, but this was the first one, and I did some things different in this one. So one of the other things that I did differently in this one is in relation to the floor. I'm going to show you that. So here the floor has this wire. This wire isn't extremely strong. So if you look carefully underneath, you'll see this 2x4 corn crib welded wire. And it is a stronger wire. So and you can see it's already wearing away here. This floor will be needing to be replaced probably in the spring. It'll make it through this winter. But I have this thicker wire underneath the thinner wire. And I may eventually, maybe the next time I replace the floors in that one, I may end up doing that same thing. We'll see. So far, this one's been holding up. But I mean, if this wire, you can see what I mean by needing to replace the wire. Like, look right here. This one will last the winter, but it will definitely be needing to replace. And then you can see we're built all the same up there. So you can see the plywood, and then you can see vinyl, and then a little strip on top. So that one has vinyl at the top of it. And then there's vinyl flooring down there. I usually go to a restore and I just buy like ends or cuts that are like offcuts from builders and stuff, and it's usually just enough for what we need to do. And I do the same thing. I go to a restore, I buy a lot of like hinges and latches, so like the hinges are completely different, but it's building with what you got. One thing I did have to do up here was put some wire in because squirrels and chipmunks were getting in and eating their grain. What did end up happening, if you look really carefully though, is a wasp nest got in there. So we had to be really careful there one year when they built their nest in there. We've left it there to prevent them from doing it again. Generally where there's one, they don't do it, but that's just kind of a really quick tour of our rabbit hutches and how they work. They're really good for Canadian winters. No, they're not insulated. The only thing, like I said, that I do is I do put the plastic around the whole perimeter, not the floor. So you're not going to put the plastic like underneath it. Don't put the plastic underneath it. You want the poo to still fall through. But they've been really well. We've been raising rabbits in these for at least 10 years now. This one is probably around 10 years-ish. I want to say pretty close to 10 years anyway. And this one we built when we moved here, so it's about 5 years old now. So this one has stood up really well. Oh, one more thing I do want to mention. So we did not use treated wood at all because rabbits chew. And eventually you'll end up needing to replace a lot of the wood in there because the rabbits chew to keep their teeth down. So what we have done though is at the bottom of these, we have put cement blocks. I don't know if we'll be able to see them, but okay, so there's some poo there, but this is actually sitting on like a cement block. So it's elevated off the wet, directly off the wet of the ground. We know eventually that we will have to like shore those up, either like put one on the side or, replace it entirely, whatever. But 10 years, untreated wood, this thing's still going strong. But do not have these sit directly on the ground. Put some sort of barrier down underneath or treat the bottom part here where the rabbits can't eat. Otherwise, what's going to happen if you don't do that is it's just going to rot away, and then you're not going to have a really good product. So like I said, I really wish I had a building video of this because we have so many building videos, but we won't be building another one. And at the time that we built this one, I didn't even think to record it all. So what I am going to do now though is I'm going to flip this around and I am going to slowly walk the perimeter of it for you, go inside of it for you, and I'm not going to say anything. I'll just put some music on or whatever, and that way if you want to copy the design, you can pause and count and see what you want to do. Length and width, honestly, I can't remember offhand. What I might do is get my measuring tape out and I can measure it all and I can write it at the bottom of the video for you. But if I do that, hopefully, if you like the design and you're interested in trying to figure out how to do your own, then you'll be able to see and make it for yourself.
Never really know what's going on. Look at me sometimes like all you want to do is run. Hear me out, hear me out.
or maybe I just measure. See you guys here? Might be easier that way. And you can see 5 feet across. Let's see what our length is. So in the back here, there's the plywood and then the 2x4. I'm gonna measure from the 2x4 to the front because the width of the plywood will vary depending on what thickness you guys want to use. I don't suggest you use the thinnest one because again, rabbits will chew. So use a nice thick one. It's kind of hard to do this one-handed with a camera. So 99 inches, just a little over 8 feet in length. No idea why we chose that length. I guess we just did. Really, honestly, you can choose whatever you want. I wanted to measure how thick the back part is for you guys. So the rabbits kind of go in. So there's the plywood there. Here, this is the plywood. So if we measure from like here to the back, so that's the enclosed area. So let's figure out how thick that is. Okay, so from the front end there, so just a little over 3 feet, 38 inches is what the back is. And then I wanted to say, so in the front area, how many 2x4s? So we have the 2x4 that goes across the front. So there's the 2x4 in the front, which isn't a full 2x4 because it attaches into this one. So then we have 1, 2, and then 3. And you know what I didn't do is I didn't show you like the underneath. So I don't know if you guys can see that. So there you go. That's the floor. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, and there's actually 2 here because this is where the floor changes from plywood to wire. So yeah, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, so 8 of those. And that would make sense. My husband is, so he would also have made 8 up in there. In here, our trusses are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So the bottom amount equals the top amount. And then in the middle, we have the dividers. And so if you look, there's a 2x4 straight down the whole middle as well. And then we angled those to go into the main 2x4. So that's how we like made our trusses. And then for the tin, there's strapping here. So like this to screw the tin down onto. Yeah. I hope that kind of helps you out. Gives you a little bit in depth. So while I was editing this video, I realized that I missed giving you guys a couple more measurements. So I'm just gonna add this in, but we are going to show you, we're gonna measure from the top and then I'll tell you sort of where the middle is. And then we'll measure from the middle down to the bottom. And what I'll do is I'll show you to the top of the 2x4, not to the bottom. And then then you have your full measurements. Sorry about that. All right, so we're at the bottom and then at the cross part. If you go from the bottom of the 2x4 to the top of the next one it's 2 feet. And then, woo, we go all the way up. We're at about 42 inches. And the only thing then we have left to do is to show you the feet from the ground. I cleared that bottom part at the bottom of the foot out. So that is now on cement. So to the bottom of that 2x4 is just about 2 feet, a little bit. And then 4 feet to the top of that 2x4. And for the angle then, we are 53 here, so you can do the math for your angle from the top up there down to down here. Obviously you can make this angle whatever you like. This is just what we chose. So yeah, if I was to measure from the bottom of the 2x4 up, so the bottom of that 2x4 is 2 feet, and then we are at about 45 there. But again, if I go from the top of the 2x4, you're 2 feet to the top there and 42 up there. So I think I have all the measurements now, minus the size of the doors and whatnot, but that's going to be up to you to decide what you want to do for measuring your doors, how big you want them and whatnot. I mean, again, these are just general measurements. You can make them how big or how small that you want, just to give you a little bit of an idea. I'm just gonna add this in quick because I'm actually just putting the plastic on today. So you can see here, this is the plastic I was talking about. Now this is a little bit dirty because this was sprayed by the buck last year or the year before. Anyway, just to give you an idea of what it looks like. So I've been reusing this same plastic for, I want to say 5 or 6 years now. Let me flip you around and show you what I do. So all I do is I staple it in, and then at the end of the season, I just come underneath these staples and I pop them out one at a time, and then I make sure I take a magnet to the ground and make sure that none go flying off. But it's just all stapled in on the top, and then the side, and then the bottom, and then the top. So this one is done for about another month, and then I'll put the plastic on the front, and it'll be the same thing. I staple there in the triangle, and then I staple like each of the squares, so it's like the cross and then the outer edges, and it works great. This is how I winterize them, and the rabbits stay nice and cozy all winter long. So I'm just gonna go ahead, the plastic's there, stapler's there, and get this one done. Quick reminder that while yes, I am using plastic and we try not to use stuff like that on the farm, this would be being thrown out or tossed in the recycling anyway, because it's coming off of a mattress, so it's coming off of something that was in use anyway. So for me to go ahead and use it and then recycle it after the fact, it's going to end up in the same place, but at least it's had a second life, and I've got a lot of years out of this. Now, if you don't have access to the thick plastic from a mattress, I'll switch you around here. This is vapor barrier. You can use vapor barriers too. This is not as thick of a plastic, so it doesn't hold up as long, it doesn't last as long, but in a pinch it'll do. I was not able to get another round of plastic for these ones, and then when I finally did, my husband didn't realize what I was saving it for, and he tossed it. So this was left over from a roll of vapor barrier I had. It's not quite as thick as the other stuff, but it still gets the job done. So just some things to keep in mind. I just have to finish stapling this on. But that's what it looks like. That's how easy it is. And it works great. Do you need to put this plastic on? Absolutely not. But my hutches are very much open, like in the open area. They're not kind of sheltered at all. And we do get a lot of wind and weather through here. So just gives them a little extra warmth in there, especially if I was kindling late in the season. All right, guys, I really hope that was helpful. Thanks for hanging out with us on the farm, and we'll see you next time.